Good morning everyone. I am Dr. Uma Suresh, lecturer in VVS GJPU College, Kuvempu Nagar, Mysore. I am here to discuss about the rules for the filling up of orbitals in an atom, and I would like to thank the Mysore District PU lecturers, Chemistry Lecturers Forum for giving me this opportunity. In the previous session, we had talked about the various quantum numbers and the various energy levels which are present in an atom. So today we will be talking about how the electrons occupy these orbitals, or how these orbitals are going to be filled up. Now a set of rules is required for the filling up of the orbitals, and the various rules are as follows. First one is called as the Aufbau principle. Aufbau principle. B, second one is the Pauli's exclusion principle, and C is Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Maximum multiplicity. So let us discuss the principles one after the other. Now Aufbau's principle, actually it is based on what is called as the n plus L rule. What is meant by the n plus L rule? Let us see here. First let me tell you what is meant by Aufbau's principle, and then we will talk about the n plus L rule. Aufbau's principle states that the in a ground state, the electrons start occupying the orbitals of lowest energy first. Now how are the energy levels arranged according to the they are arranged according to the increasing order of energy levels, and this how can we determine which is going to have an higher energy level or which has the lower energy. Now that is based on, as I told earlier, it is based on the n plus L rule. It is based on the n plus L rule. So here n is the principal quantum number, and L is the azimuthal quantum number. Azimuthal quantum number. Hence, if I take say 1s orbital, if I take 1s orbital, the value of n is going to be 1 and the value of L will be equal to 0. So n plus L will be equal to 1. If I take 2s orbital, then the value of n will be 2. Again the value of L is going to be 0, which will be equal to 2. Hence the 1s orbital is in lower energy as compared to the 2s orbital. So using this theory, all the orbitals are arranged in an increasing order of energy levels. Again there is another part in this n plus L rule which says that if the value of n plus L is going to be the same, then the orbital which has the higher value of n will have a higher energy, and if the orbital which has the lower value of n will have a lower energy. Hence Suppose we take this example 3D, and if I take 4s, 3D and 4s, here I have D is n for 3D, L is going to be n is going to be equal to 3, L will be equal to, L is going to be equal to 2, here you have equal to 5. Okay, sorry, here instead of 4s, let us take 4p. Now here 4 is going to for 4p orbital, n will be equal to 4, p will be equal to 1, this is also going to be equal to 5. So how are we going to decide which is going to have a higher energy level, because the value of n plus L is going to be the same, but in out of these two orbitals 4p has a larger value for n, hence that has higher energy level as compared to the 3D energy to the 3D orbital here. So based on this, the orbitals are arranged in this particular order. What is the order we have here? I'll write the order. The order is 1s less than 2s, which is less than 2p, which is less than 3s, which is less than 3p, which is less than 3d, which is less than 4s. Okay, so this is how the order continues. But here if I look at this energy level for hydrogen atom, this holds good because it is a single electron, but for an multi-electron system, what happens is that you will have the energy level, this is going to be 4s and then this is going to be 3d here. The reason again here is going to be your n plus L rule. The value for n plus L here is going to be 4, while for the value for 3D it is going to be equal to 5, hence 3D orbital has a higher energy level as compared to the 4s electron 4s orbital when you consider a multi-electron system. So whenever the electron whenever you have to fill up the orbitals in an atom, the electrons will first enter the 1s orbital, and as you know, each of the orbital can occupy maximum of 2 electrons. So the first 2 electrons will enter the 1s orbital, then you have the electrons occupying the 2s orbital, then next 2 electrons will occupy the 2p orbital, and then 3s, 3p, so it continues. But in a p orbital you have it can accommodate a maximum of 6 electrons. So when we are writing the electronic configuration, we will discuss that in detail. So hence this is the order of filling up of the orbitals. But a more easier way for you people to remember would be writing the diagram like this: 1s, 2s, 2p, then you have 3s, 3p, 3d, then you have 4s, 4p, 4d, 4f, then you have 5s, 5p, 5d, 5f, 6s, 6p, 6d and 6f. So you draw the lines diagonally and then you come here, okay, then this orbitals will get filled up, then you have this. So how is this? 1s, then you come to 2s, from 2s you go to 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, then you have 4d, 4p, 5s. This is how the electrons get filled up in this particular order. So this is the first principle which is involved in the filling up of orbitals. Now what is the next principle here, or the next principle is your Pauli's exclusion principle. What is Pauli's exclusion principle? According to Pauli's exclusion principle, no two electrons can have the same set of four quantum numbers. They must vary at least in the spin quantum numbers. So because of this principle only, the spin quantum number was introduced here. And here, according to this principle, as I told you, no two electrons can have the same set of quantum numbers. For example, if I take helium atom, helium atom has two electrons. Therefore, if I want to put the electrons in that orbital, now the orbitals are represented by a square and you write the orbital below it. So when you are going to fill up the electrons, so this is the 1s orbital and I need to fill up the two electrons here. So if I put one electron like this and the electrons are represented by half an arrow. Now if I put one electron like this, now this electron, for this electron, n is going to be equal to 1, L is also going to be equal to 0 and m will be equal to 0, and then you have S or the spin quantum number. But here you need to have two electrons. So if I put another electron in the same direction, then this will be equal to the spin value, the spin quantum number value is going to be plus half. If I put another electron in the same direction, this second electron will also have all the same set of quantum numbers. The value of n will be equal to 0, value of L will be equal to 0, value of m will be equal to 0, S will again be equal to half. Therefore, plus half. Therefore, the electron is represented by this in this direction, in the downward direction. Then what happens? Then the electron, for this electron, n will be equal to 1, L will be equal to 0, m will be equal to 0, and S is going to be equal to minus half. So even though all these three are the same, the spin quantum number becomes different. Hence this explains the Pauli's exclusion principle. So therefore, whenever you are writing the box diagram, this is called as the box diagram for the electronic configuration, you put one arrow in the upward direction and the other arrow in the downward direction, and the downward direction represents that the spin quantum number is minus half, while in the upward direction it is going to be equal to plus half. Okay. So this is the second principle. Now what was the third principle I mentioned? The third principle what was mentioned is called as the Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Now what does this rule state? This rule states that whenever you have a set of degenerate orbitals. What do you mean by degenerate orbitals? Degenerate orbitals are orbitals of equal energies. When you have a set of degenerate orbitals, the electrons will occupy the orbital singly before pairing can take place. Now how do we explain this? Suppose I take nitrogen atom. The atomic number of nitrogen is 7. Hence the electronic configuration, when I write, it will be 1s2, it's going to be 2s2, and then I will write it as 2p3. I can write it as 2p3. But when I draw the box diagram, I put the boxes here like this, and we know that in the p subshell you have 3 orbitals. So this is 1s, then you have 2s, then you have 2px, 2py, and then 2pz. Now these 2 electrons, how do we put the first the 2 electrons in the 1s orbital? I put one single arrow up, the other is going to be represented like this. In the 2s orbital I have like this, and I put the downward arrow, plus half, minus half. But now look at this 2p3, there are 3 electrons. Now there are 2 ways how you how you can arrange. What would be our first instinct? The first instinct would be you put the 2 electrons here and then I put 1 electron here, but this is not correct. Now according to Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity, each of these orbitals must have a single electron. So I put first all the orbitals, I put each of the orbitals, you are going to fill it up with a single electron. So this electronic configuration of nitrogen is going to be 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, 2py1, and 2pz1. Suppose I take oxygen. Oxygen, the atomic number is 8. The electronic configuration, if I just write it, it will be 1s2, 2s2, and then it is going to be 2p4. But how will I write the box diagram? I put the box diagram has to be written like this. So I put the 2 electrons here. This is 1s, this is 2s, and then when it is coming to the 2p orbitals subshell, you have 3 orbitals. This is 2px, this is 2py, and this is 2pz. Now here in the p shell, I have to accommodate 4 electrons. Now I cannot put the electrons, 2 electrons here, and then I cannot put 2 electrons here. How should they be filled up? I first have to put 1 electron in each of the orbitals. Now 3 orbitals have been given to each of the 3 electrons have been given to each of the orbitals. So we are left out with 1 more electron that is going to pair up with the first orbital here. So the electronic configuration of oxygen becomes 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py1, and then it becomes 2pz1. Now I can go to the next example here. Now the next example what we can have here is for fluorine. Fluorine, the atomic number is 9. So therefore what will be the box diagram? Like this: 1s2, you have 1s, then you have 2s, and then you have 2p, have 2s, 2px, 2py, and then 2pz. So you have 2 electrons here, 2 electrons here out of the 9 electrons. So 2 plus 2, 4. We are left out with 5 electrons. How are these 5 electrons going to occupy the 2p orbitals? Each of the orbitals will first get an electron, that is 1 1 each, and then I put the electron pairing takes place. So the electronic configuration is going to be 1s2, 2s2, 2px2, 2py2, and then 2pz2. So this is what is called as the Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. And so with these rules, after getting familiar with these rules, let us write the electronic configuration of the first 10 elements in the periodic table. So for writing the electronic configuration, you require the atomic numbers. So the first element is hydrogen, then you have helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and finally you have neon. So the electronic configuration of hydrogen is going to be 1s1. For helium it will be 1s2. Lithium 1s2, 2s1. Beryllium 1s2, 2s2. And then boron 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. Carbon 1s2, 2s2, 2p x1, 2p y1. For nitrogen 1s2, 2s2, 2p x1, 2p y1 and 2p z1. Oxygen 1s2, 2s2, 2p x2, 2p y1 and 2p z1. Fluorine 1s2, 2s2, 2p x2, 2p 2p y2 and 2p z1. Neon 1s2, 2s2, 2p x2, 2p y2 and 2p z2. So this is the electronic configuration of the first 10 elements. So you can try out the electronic configuration of the other elements also. But before we leave, we finish off with this. Everything has certain anomalies. There is some anomalous behavior or deviation from the regular behavior of the occupation of the atomic orbitals. Now why is that? Certain elements, for example here in this case copper or chromium, both the examples I will discuss here, both of them have a different electronic configuration than what is expected. So let us first talk about chromium. So chromium and copper have an anomalous electronic configuration. What is that anomalous electronic configuration? Let us take chromium. The electronic atomic number of chromium is 24. So when I write the box, what will be the electronic configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. Okay, so you have 10 electrons, then you have 3s2, 12, 3p6. So it is going to be 10, 18. So 6 more electrons we have. Then you have 4s2. So you expect this to be 4s2 because in the Aufbau's principle 4s2, 4s orbitals have higher energy levels as compared to your lower energy level as compared to the 3d. So how many electrons do we have here? You are having 20. So therefore the 3d you expect it to be 3d4. So when I draw the box diagram, 1s, 2 electrons, 2s, 2 electrons, 2p, 6 electrons, okay, put it like this. Then you have 3s, 2 electrons, 3p, this is 3s, 3p, then 4s, and 3d. d orbitals you have 5 set of d orbitals. So we expect this to be like this, 3d. So this is what you would have been expected to write, but this is not the correct electronic configuration. The reason being, one electron from the 4s orbital will move on to the 3d orbital. So from the 4s orbital, the electron jumps to the 3d orbital. When that takes place, there is loss of energy, so it will attain a lower energy state, and then what is going to happen? There is an exchange of electron. So that energy which is lost during this exchange, you call it as the exchange energy, and the electronic configuration becomes 4s1. It becomes 4s1 and 3d5. And it becomes 3d5 here. So this, when you have a half filled orbitals, then it is going to have an extra stability. When you have half filled orbitals, the atom will have extra stability. Why does it have extra stability? The first reason being, during the exchange of electrons from the 4s to the 3d, there is loss of energy, which you call as the exchange energy, and also when the electrons are placed singly in the orbitals, there is less repulsion between the electrons. Hence, an half filled orbital is going to have a greater stability and a lower energy. Therefore, the correct electronic configuration of chromium is 4s1 and 3d5 is going to be 4s1 and 3d5. Similarly, when we take copper, the electronic configuration of the atomic number of copper is going to be 29. So when I write the electronic configuration, let me rub this. When I write the electronic configuration, it is going to be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, and you expect it to be 3d9. So let me put the box diagram. I will put the box diagram only for 4s and 3d. 4s and 3d. So what happens here? Now in this case, when one electron from the 4s, if it can, this is 3d, if it can jump over to the 3d level, then the electronic configuration, so it will move from 4s to 3d, then the electronic configuration will become 4s1 and 3d10. When that becomes 4s1 and 3d10, then you will see that 4s is half filled while 3d is completely filled. Hence this is going to have a greater stability than 4s2 and 3d9. So this can be, so hence copper and chromium have a different electronic configuration as that of what is going to be expected, or we say they show abnormal electronic configuration. So that is due to the extra stability of half filled and completely filled electrons. So, we expect you to learn the electronic configuration of the first 20 elements. Thank you. Today we have discussed about the various rules which are required for the filling up of the orbitals. The first one is Aufbau's principle, 2 is Pauli's exclusion principle, and 3 is the Hund's rule of maximum multiplicity. Then we learnt about the writing the electronic configuration of the first 10 elements. Then in the last part of the lecture we have learnt about we discussed about the abnormal electronic configuration or the anomalous electronic configuration of copper and chromium, and why the reason for this anomalous behavior, and that is due to the extra stability of the half filled and completely filled orbitals. Thank you.